Well, hello there. Thanks for joining me this evening. I'm going to do a project tonight on a t-shirt using our Back Again Someday transfer. It's this adorable little snowman, and I'm going to actually put it on this t-shirt. I am going to leave off the bird. I don't know, that's what I'm thinking anyway, and just do the snowman, and then I'm going to use our ink markers to color in the carrot nose and whatever else. We'll see, maybe the scarf too. I'm kind of wishy-washy about that. We'll see what happens with it. And I actually mixed up a little bit of ink with our bright white and, what's this? Brilliant blue, to make a very light blue for the snowflakes. I was hoping silver, and I realized, oops, I'm out of silver ink. If you're going to work on fabric, you always want to use our ink. Use our ink for anything that will be washed. Use our chalk paste for anything else. So I'm just taking this out of its little cellophane bag. Again, it's called Back Again Someday. And all of our transfers have instructions on the opposite side explaining how to use them and how to clean them. If you have any questions, just drop me a line. I'm happy to help you out and answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so I'm going to just think of our transfers as stencils on steroids. They are adhesive backed, and because of that come with this little backer sheet. And normally if I was making a sign, I would fuzz this because our transfers are adhesive backed, and when I'm using them on fabric I don't need to fuzz them because I want them to stick as strongly as possible. But if I was doing this on a piece of wood or chalkboard or something like that, I'd fuzz it a little bit. And if I was doing it on glass, I'd fuzz it a lot. Anytime you're actually going to chalk or ink on glass or anything that's extraordinarily smooth, you want to fuzz quite a bit. And then I'm just smoothing this down. You do not need to fuzz when you're applying to fabric. Now, I have one of our little ink mats in between the layers of this shirt. A little bit larger than that, so that my ink doesn't go through to the back side. I'm going to move this up a little bit so you could actually see what I'm working on. And I think I'm going to start right with the stars, or maybe I'll catch the stars later. Let me put this on the side over here. I might need to stir that up a little bit more. So I'm going to basically do my snowman in our black ink. Now the number one rule of inking is make sure your fingers are clean. Make sure you don't accidentally have ink on your fingers, and if you go to move your fabric, you don't want to smudge something. So I'm going to use my little mini squeegee here to apply my paste. I'm going to apply it everywhere except the scarf and the stars is what I'm shooting for. So we'll see here how this goes. I'm using a mini squeegee. If you need to get into tight corners, sometimes you might want to use our multi-tool or our detail tool, which is great for getting into tight spots. But if you don't have a multi-tool or a detail tool, you could actually cut one of these minis into smaller pieces. Just being careful I don't catch my stars. Oops, I just caught one, didn't I? Yep, looks like I did. Be a little bit more careful there. So just smoothing it over the silk screen. Anything that you're seeing that's white on the transfer is actually where the silk screen is. Our transfers are made of silk screen and vinyl. I'm just going over it, smoothing it through, make sure it goes through the silk screen, and then I'm going to clean up any excess there. Trying to decide what I want to do next. Let me get this little twig arm first. I feel much more comfortable pulling my squeegee towards me, so let me turn things around a little bit here. little bit of a tight spot there, but I think I'm okay. I want to catch my snowman's belly down here. Okay, so it's time for the face and the hat. Just smooth it gently over the silkscreen. You don't need to apply any real pressure. Just make sure it goes through the silkscreen. When I'm inking, I usually go over the area more than once, just to give it a chance to actually absorb into the fabric a little bit. Grab a little bit more ink here. I knew I wanted to do this, and I knew I wanted to do it on a tee, but it was like, oh my goodness, do I have a white t-shirt? Because my snowman has to be white, right? Okay, I want to be careful not to get the scarf here. Turn this around a little bit. So I don't want to do the bird. Got a little bit too much ink there. Get rid of some of it. And catch the carrot nose here, and I want to be really careful to not catch the bird. There we go. Just smooth it out. Remove some of my excess ink here. Actually smooth it out and put it back into the jar. I'll make sure I have everything covered. Got that little edge of the hat. I think it's looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to put that back into the jar. And then I couldn't decide. I was going to do the scarf in blue and black. Maybe I'll still do that. Let me go over the scarf here then. Was going to do it in blue and yellow, and then I was like blue and black. I keep changing my mind on what I wanted it to look like. So let me go over it in the black, and this way it'll be black and blue striped. See, all that being careful, I didn't have to. I could have just gone over it. Oh yeah, this will be good because then it'll have some black fringe. Okay. I think I have everything I need. I just need to do those snowflakes now. Ink on my fingers. Let me clean my fingers. I usually keep a package of baby wipes handy to clean my fingers when I'm inking. Baby wipes are great for cleaning your fingers. You just don't want them to, you don't want to use them on your transfers because they have lanolin in them, and that'll reduce the stickiness of your transfer. So baby wipes only for the fingers. Okay, so I want to mix this up and take a little look at it. It's very, very light blue, and it's kind of dried out a little bit while it's sat here. I might mix a teeny bit more of the blue in it just to make it a little bit darker. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water because I had it drying out. And I've got a bottle of distilled water, and I'm just going to get a little tiny spritz of water to thin it out, just as I would do with my chalk paste if my chalk paste was drying out. And I use distilled because I don't want any chance of the chemicals in the tap water interfering with the pigments of the ink or the paste. Oh yeah, this really was starting to dry, wasn't it? I think I'm going to take just a little dab of blue, make it a little bit darker so that it actually shows up on this shirt. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's just a little bit too light and you won't be able to see the snowflakes. Okay, I think that's fine. I don't need a lot. Oops, sorry, I just realized I'm off camera. Let's fix that up a little bit. Finger check. Need a clean squeegee, and we'll do the snowflakes. And you know what? I'm going to show you how easy it is to cut this squeegee. Any sharp scissors will work. So I'm going to just cut it into a smaller piece. I could actually probably have cut that into thirds. Well, that was nice, except I might have gotten some black on it. Nope, that would have to be a little bit more careful than I'm being tonight, right? Okay, so this is rather narrow and should let me get into the little areas where there's the stars. I think this is still going to be quite light, but that's fine. I could always, if I don't like it and I need to darken it up a bit, I could always go back over it once it's dry, lay the transfer back down, and go back over it with a little bit darker of a blue. Okay, now just turn it around so I could be careful. And I know I have one other area, aha, right here. Okay, I think I have everything covered. That was quick and easy, wasn't it? Finger check. I've got ink. Let me clean my fingers again. And then I'm going to lift off my transfer, and I will lift it off slowly, looking at my image underneath it before I totally lift it off, just in case I missed an area or something didn't go through. Oh, is he adorable? The snowflakes are very, very light, but I can see the blue. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the side for a moment and move my t-shirt off to the side to let it dry. And I'll show you how I clean my transfers. I want to make sure I didn't get ink on myself here. Oh, is he adorable? I love Snowman. They just make me happy. I'm coming at you from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line. Let me know where you're viewing from this evening. And again, we're working on the Back Again Someday Snowman. Just added it to a t-shirt. Now, I normally would clean this over at the sink, but I don't have a camera at the sink. So I'm going to just clean it at my surface. And I want to grab one of my board erasers for cleaning it. That makes it much quicker. And then I'm going to also use a disinfecting wipe. Which unfortunately I had right under the table, and I moved it a little bit too far for me to reach. Let me grab it, so I have them out in hand. So easy to clean. Both our chalk paste and our ink are water soluble. So that makes it easy. Just going to go over it with my board eraser. Now the board eraser is called a board eraser because they were originally intended for cleaning our chalkboards. Sometimes if you have an image on a chalkboard and you want to reuse that chalkboard, if the image has been there for a while or it's highly pigmented, sometimes it would leave like a little ghosting. So that's what these board erasers are great for removing. Board erasers, because it's a chalkboard, right? But they also work great for removing the ink or the chalk paste off of your transfer. So I'm just grabbing a disinfecting wipe and going over it, moving any of the excess ink. Remember, ink for fabric or anything that's going to be washed. Chalk paste for everything else. Now our chalk paste is removable on some surfaces. It's removable off of chalkboard, dry erase board, glass, metal, and mirror, which makes it great so that you can reuse those surfaces. So I've cleaned the front. And go over and clean the back. Just lay it down. Now remember the back has the adhesive on it. So first I want to remove all the ink. And then once I have all the ink off, and it's sticking a little bit because of the adhesive. Once I have all the ink off, then I'll go back over it again and make sure I have any of the lint or the fiber from the fabric that it picked up. And once I remove all that, then I could actually put it away to dry. But I want to make sure I get all the lint off because I want it to be as sticky as possible for the next use, because our transfers are reusable over and over and over again. I think this is clean. Sometimes it's hard to tell with the black because it's just so highly pigmented that it'll stain your transfer, but as long as you get it all out of the silk screen, you don't have to worry about it damaging it. It just doesn't look as pretty or brand new as it did before, but it still works as well. So I'm just going back over. Now I'm picking up a little bit of ink, so that's good, but I'm going over generally in one direction so that I remove any of the lint. And being that my t-shirt was white, you're not going to see any lint on this, on my disinfecting wipe. I'm going to turn that over and go right back over the top just to be sure. Yeah, it's just that it's so pigmented. Give that a little scrub here. Actually, if I give that a little scrub with the board eraser, I'll probably clean it up a little bit better. Now I want to put this aside to dry, sticky side up on a flat surface. So let me back up a little bit and put this on a flat surface to dry. Once it's dry, I'll put it back on its backer, and then I will put it in its little envelope for the next time I want to use it. You know, I've got big plans for this transfer, believe me. I just love it. It's so happy and bright and cheery and sweet. Now I'm going to clean off my surface, of course, and close up my ink and whatever. I have a bad habit of leaving my lids off. You don't want to leave your lids off, otherwise it will get a little bit thicker or dry out. If that happens, use the distilled water. Of course, I just got ink underneath my fingernails, it figures, right? Okay, so let me get my inks out of here that I used. Put them out of the way. And my little stir stick. Now, I spoke the other day about our new ink markers. They're fabric markers, and they're great for getting into little areas. And look at all these beautiful colors they come in. And I already took out, like I said, I was trying to decide what I was going to do. And I ended up taking out the blue because I was going to do the scarf in blue. And then it's like, hello, I might as well just do it with my ink instead of with a marker. And then I've got my orange for the carrot nose. I think that's probably all I need. Okay, so anyway, our fabric markers are really nice. We have our chalk markers too, but these are our fabric ones. They have a fine tip, so they're great for getting into little areas. And I would normally say let this dry before I go and add the orange for the carrot nose, but I'm going to try and be really careful. My cord doesn't reach for my dryer over here. I've got a little drying tool and it won't reach, and I know that, so I'm going to try and do this without drying it. Basically, once you've applied your oh, I do have to add the blue there. What was I? That's right, I am going to use the blue. I forgot. Oh my goodness, really flaking out. Okay, that's right, I was going to make the scarf blue and white, so let me grab my blue back out here. Okay, so I'm going to try and be really careful and not smudge this. Oops, what did I say? My number one rule: make sure you don't have ink on your fingers. Figures, because I already tossed the baby wipe out. Okay, let me grab another one and clean my fingers up here a little bit. We have a Black Friday sale going on right now, and we have lots of specials with it. We have this really cool sign for $10, and we have our C and our D size transfers are half price. Now, our C size transfers are 12 by 18, and our D size are 18 by 18. And half price is an excellent deal. I actually, oh, I don't have anything handy, do I? I actually placed another order the other day. I swear I'm a pillow freak. I really love making pillowcases, or doing our pillowcases with our 18 by 18 inch transfers. And of course, I just had to get something else for Christmas again. Okay, so I'm going to be careful not to get into any area where I have paste, and just basically paint in the orange for my nose. I really need to rest my hand. Isn't this terrible? I'm so used to working with it resting on a surface, but I don't want to smudge my little snowflakes there, so I'm going to try not to. Maybe if I turn it around a little bit. I tested this marker before I started. I was going to prime it, and I opened it up and just tested it on a piece of paper, and it was nice and ready to go already, so I didn't have to prime it or anything. But isn't this easy and perfect for getting into those tiny little areas? Now, if I accidentally go over the black and I need to add it back in, I could just put my transfer back down and ink over what I've just done here. Now, the fabric markers do not require heat setting. Our ink does require heat setting. So when this is totally dry, I will use an iron or a heat press to go back in and heat set it. And it's real easy to do. Basically, all you do is you place a piece of parchment paper over it. You wait till your ink is dry. Place the take out your insert. Take out your ink mat. If you're not using an ink mat or you don't have an ink mat, a smooth piece of cardboard will work fine. Basically, I like the ink mat because it's adhesive and it holds my fabric nice and tight while I apply my ink. But you could use a smooth piece of cardboard. Take it out before you heat set. Put a sheet of parchment paper over it, and then use an iron set at the temperature for your fabric, or a heat press set at the temperature for your fabric, and then go over it. The heat press you could just let sit in one spot for 30 seconds. The iron, you want to move it around for 4 minutes. Just make sure you go with the appropriate temperature for your fabric. And then turn it inside out, put the parchment paper on the opposite side of the image of the front, and do the same thing all over again. And then it's heat set for good. And the nice thing about our ink is you don't feel it. It's smooth. It's not like vinyl where it's going to peel off or flake off or fade. It is actually melded with the fabric when it's ink set, when it's heat set, I'm sorry. And it makes it so easy. Okay, let's see how my blue looks here. I want to make sure I don't have any ink smudges. And I'm hoping this isn't a really dark. No, I think this is going to be fine. So a sweet little blue and black scarf. Just getting a feel for how the fabric's absorbing the ink. Now, the fabric markers don't need to be heat set. Once they're dry, they're good to go. But heat setting them, when we heat set the ink from, that we've applied, our Club Couture ink, does not impact the fabric markers, so the heat won't hurt them at all. The blue is a little bit darker. I should have maybe gone with another color. I don't know. I think this will be fine. Kind of go with the blue snowflakes, right? So anyway, we have a great Black Friday sale going on. Some amazing deals. And you even get a free transfer that says Flakes Welcome with a $50 order. That's good until midnight tonight. If you're new to chalk, drop me a line, comment newbie. If you have any questions, just jump right in. I love showing someone the magic of Club Couture. I started somewhat of a little bit of series talking about crafting and stress relief, and I want to get back into that in a little bit more detail. But what I want to kind of focus on is when you are looking for stress relief from crafting, you want to actually pick something that is a little bit redundant to do. Like right now, I'm just coloring in this scarf. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to, it's kind of mindless. It's like coloring a coloring book, right? And that is basically the best way to get your stress relief. Just let your mind relax. Of course, I'm sitting here talking live while I'm doing this, so it's not quite as if I wasn't chatting away here, but do something that you don't have to think about. Maybe you're prepping a sign and you're staining it, or you're painting it, or you're sanding it. Something that doesn't require a lot of thought, no decision making, just go with the flow. And you'll notice that once you get in that zone, your cortisol levels will start dropping and your body will start creating serotonin, and you'll be much more relaxed. But give yourself the break. There's no hurry, no worry. Just take your time and enjoy the process. Nice way to chill out and be good to your body. There's more and more studies coming out that show how crafting actually impacts your mental health. Brightens your spirit. You have something to show when you're done that you made yourself, that you can take pride in. I don't want to rest my hand here because I have my little snowflakes, so I want to be a little bit careful. So I think using the markers for chalking and for inking are great, because it is like coloring. If you've ever used an adult coloring book, kind of like the same thing, only actually this is easier. And it's so sweet when you receive a handmade gift, isn't it? To realize that someone took the time out of their lives to make something specially for you. Such an honor, isn't it? To receive something that's special. I love giving handmade gifts for the holidays. To put a little thought in it sometimes and decide what I'm doing for who or whatever. Kind of think throughout the year and make notes when things pop into my head. But then it just makes them that much more special. And seriously, if you know anybody who wears t-shirts, and who doesn't really, I'm a real jeans and t-shirt type of person, you can put any of our images that'll fit, or even part of our images, on a t-shirt. Whether it's a saying, whether it's an image, you decide what you want, but it's so easy to do. You saw how quickly it was for me to put this snowman image down. And I didn't have to be coloring this in. I could have just used the blue ink, inked it in the blue, so it was blue and white. Almost done. I have a little bit more to get in here. I actually have an extra light on, so I don't know, I might be very bright tonight, but it's kind of bothering my eyes because it's hitting me right in the face. So my eyes are starting to tear a little bit. So I'm almost done. I will let this dry a little bit more because I think probably the areas that are my little stars and flakes there and the hat where there's a lot of ink are probably a little wet yet. You can touch with your finger, but I don't really want to smear anything. So I'll let it set. Generally, if I ink something, I like to let it set overnight, let it fully dry, and then heat set it the next day. But if you're in a hurry, you could use a hair dryer. You don't want to use a heat tool because you want to use cool air. So a hair dryer on cool will work fine. What do you think? What should we call him? We could call him Frosty. That's just so easy. I think, you know what? I'm going to try the brown and do his arms. Let me grab that. These markers are 12 in a set, and they have just about everything you need. But I'm going to actually test this on a piece of paper towel to see what color it actually is. I'm going based on the cap. It seems like it's a little bit darker than the cap show, so this is going to be brown. And I might just color in those twig arms here. Well, that was pretty easy. If you've enjoyed this video, if you're watching on YouTube, please consider subscribing. If you're watching me on Facebook, follow me at Craft with Kathie so that you could see additional videos when they become available. And like I said, if you have any questions, just drop me a comment. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think? Isn't he absolutely adorable? Such a sweet and happy snowman. Thank you for watching. Have a nice evening. See you soon.